What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Tuesday, so you know what we got here for you. Trade Deadline Tuesday. I'm Con Errol, and you guys are listening to the Bench Mob podcast. We got a nice crew of GMs here today. Garrett Catalano. What's up, Garrett? How's it going?
What's up? Just enjoying this Sunday morning here in beautiful 85-degree Florida. So, looking forward to a good podcast.
No one needs to hear that. No one needs to hear that.
I've been hearing about some cold fronts up in the Northeast. So,
yeah, it's freezing here in Boston. But how's it in OKC, Tim? We got Tim Heaton on. How's it going?
It's a great day here in Oklahoma. Last night, the Oklahoma Sooners had a big matchup against TCU, 5-6 matchup. I went to the game. OU dominated. So I'm in a great mood. Had to save my voice a little bit, though. First half, I was screaming too much. Second half, I did a lot of clapping.
You went to the OKC Clippers game too, right? How was that?
Man, it was a good game. Oklahoma City kind of got back on track. There were some encouraging things out of the offense. We actually passed out of ISO situations and swung the ball around a couple times. So it was my first game to go to. We broke the losing streak. Really good time. Got to hang out with my dad, have some bonding time, father-son bonding time. So
there you go. And to our second OKC resident here on the pod, Will Pennington. How's it going, Will?
Los Angeles resident currently, but I'm doing pretty well. Little bleary-eyed. I saw one of my favorite musicians, Hayes Carl, last night out in the desert, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, hopefully it was a good time because I've never heard of them, or him, whatever. Anyway, we have the Washington Wizards for you guys here today. You guys voted. It was between the Magic, the Pistons and the Wizards, I think it was, or
yeah, that was right.
Yeah, in any case, we have the Wizards. I'm happy you guys voted for the Wizards. We're going to be breaking them down. I'll go through the cap structure real quick for you guys, and then I'll toss it to the other GMs here for some roster analysis. We all know the Brooklyn Nets offered Otto Porter the maximum offer sheet, or was it the Kings?
Nets,
there you go. And so Otto Porter's starting salary right now is at $24.7 million for the next 3 years. Then he has a player option in 2020, 2021. So he's pretty locked up for the next 4 years. And then we have the two other max guys. Bradley Beal, his contract's at about $23.7 million this year, going through the 2020-2021 season. So same timeline as Otto Porter if Porter ends up accepting his player option. And then we all know about the John Wall extension. He signed the veteran's maximum exception, if I'm saying that right, where he's going to get the 35% max.
just to briefly point out, he's still playing under his old contract for the next 2 years, and then the max kicks in 2019-2020.
Yeah, so his structure here is $18 million this year, $19.1 million next year, and then it jumps right up to $37.8 million, up to $40, then $44 million, and then player option 2022, 2023. So he's going to be spending the rest of his prime in Washington. He's happy about it. I'm sure the Wizards fans are happy about it. And as GM of the Wizards today, I'm very happy about that. Averaging 20 and 10 this year, playing great. I mean, the team could be performing a bit better, but we'll get into that. And then we have the albatross of a contract that is Ian Mahinmi's $16.6 million this year, which at least it's decreasing. It goes down to $15.9 then $15.5 million in 2019-2020, but still over $15 million for the next 3 years for a backup center is definitely not a situation that we'd like to be in as the Wizards. And if there are teams willing to take on that contract, we'd be willing to compensate for it. So we'll see if we can get a deal done. We got Marcin Gortat for the next 2 years at $12.8, then $13.5 million. We got Markieff Morris at $8 million, $8.5 million next year. So Markieff and Gortat are on the same timeline here. And then we have Jason Smith and Jody Meeks making $5 million and $3 million respectively around there. They both have player options for next year, so we are expecting both of them to pick it up. However, in the case of, let's say, Jody Meeks, if he outperforms expectations, maybe he can get something for longer. And if he feels that way, he might decline that option. We are pretty confident in Jason Smith picking up his $5.5 million option next year. And then kind of end of the bench guys, we got Thomas Satoransky, for $3 million, and then not so end of the bench guy Kelly Oubre, our sixth man. He's still on his rookie scale. We just picked up his option for his 4th year, and after next year we'll be looking to extend him and re-sign him because we like what he's bringing to the table. And I mean, depending on how the roster shakes out, we feel that he's an eventual starter for us down the line. Right now, he fits in well with the 6-man role, and we got expiring contracts. Tim Frazier backing up John Wall at the point for $2 million, and minimum guys Mike Scott and Chris McCullough. We declined Chris McCullough's 4th-year option just recently. We don't feel that he's a good fit for us going forward. And then we have Sheldon Mack, who's on a minimum non-guaranteed deal. However, he just had torn meniscus and had surgery, and he's going to be out for the entirety of this season. So after that kind of extensive cap breakdown, I'll toss it to Garrett. Let's start with you. What do you think about the team and where they're going and how they've been playing this year?
Just to briefly talk about Otto Porter's contract, because he signed an offer sheet with Brooklyn that's very Brooklyn wanted to make it appealing enough that Washington had to think about matching. He is a 15% trade kicker. And because he signed an offer sheet, he has a no trade clause in the first year of the contract, but he can obviously waive that if there's a destination. If Washington wanted to trade him, he can waive that no trade clause. But otherwise, they've had a little bit of a rough start. They've lost some winnable games at home early on, but they've been playing without Markieff Morris, as we know, and the bench has added 1 or 2 pieces, and Oubre has stepped up, but obviously they still have their struggles. I think it's one of the things. John Wall's too good. Bradley Beal's too good. Porter has been really good so far this season. And I'd expect Washington to be a top 3 seed, especially with Cleveland struggling out of the gate as well. But it's been disappointing early on, but I think with Markieff coming back soon, they'll be better off.
Markieff actually has been back for the past 5 games. So he's been averaging 19.4 minutes a game, kind of easing in because his ankle was kind of bothering him. But he's been having a decent year so far in his 5 games back, shooting 50% from the field, averaging almost 11 points a game.
But because of the bench struggles, they're going to need Markieff to play more than 19 minutes a game.
Of course, he needs to be getting up to 30 minutes a game probably.
I mean, everybody but Gortat, that starting unit, normally gets at least 30, 32 minutes per game.
Even Gortat's hitting 30 minutes a game right now.
Which is crazy, but that's a whole other thing. Anyway.
Yeah. So, Tim, let's go to you. What do you think about kind of how John Wall and Bradley Beal have been doing this year? And then is Otto Porter kind of earning that contract?
Well, I mean, with the Otto Porter, I feel like they had no other option really than to match. I would have liked them to maybe not let it get to restricted and see if they could have got him a little bit under the max, because you knew that a team was going to throw him a full max with the trade kicker and all of that kind of stuff. But that didn't happen, so now they have him at the full max with the trade kicker and player option and all those great things that benefit Otto Porter and not so much the team. As far as the Wizards overall, though, I mean, they have a very solid squad. They're still a young team, but they have good playoff experience already. John Wall is an elite point guard in the league. Bradley Beal is kind of what you want out of an off guard with his shooting. Like what Kelly Oubre, how his game has progressed. The big question for the Wizards really is what's their ceiling with this current team, and how much are they willing to go into the luxury tax, because they have a lot of money already tied up with Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, as we talked about. And then Kelly Oubre is probably going to command a fair amount of money as well whenever he's up for an extension. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of direction you want to take this team with trades, because they're definitely a team that is competing to come out of the East, and so they're not going to want to sell too many pieces. They're going to want to be staying in contention. But there's with Mahimi's salary in there, I don't know what moves are available. I'm sure we'll find some, but I'm pretty excited to get to the trade portion of this pod, because I feel like there's a lot of interesting options we can look at.
Yeah, as am I. I have a lot of deals kind of lined up, and yeah, I'm not trying to kind of wholesale the team. I kind of want to keep the starters in place because of their chemistry and how they've been playing. But I mean, if the right deal presents itself, I'll look at it. But it's mostly kind of fringe moves, and then the Jan Mahinmi deal really is what I'm focusing on. But Will, as another GM, what have you been looking at from the Wizards, and what do other teams? What might other teams want from my team?
So, when I was looking at the Wizards, it really reminded me of something that I think you said during the Pistons pod about how you have these different tiers of players, and especially the different tiers of contracts, and trying to make sure that you find players within the certain tiers of contracts that the deals match up and that they work. And with Washington, I think there's no question they're not trading John Wall, they're not trading Bradley Beal. Maybe if the right deal comes along, you can get a deal done for Otto Porter, but I don't see there being a ton of action in the top 3 guys on this Washington roster in terms of trades or maybe even trade rumors. I mean, if you get the right deal for Otto Porter, sure, but Washington's in a position where they could duck under the luxury tax with the right deal, and I think that move makes a lot of sense. And so from another team's perspective, I was trying to find deals where my vision would also align with Washington's vision, and a deal, could help my team maybe bring in an established veteran, and Washington would get some young upside.
No, yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. The main kind of scales here are the 3 max guys, plus Jan Mahinmi on that kind of middle max, old money max type deal that he has. And then you have like Gortat, Markieff on those middle tier, like $8 to $12 million contracts. And then after Jason Smith, it's mostly like $1, $2, $3 million deals. In any case, let me just do some quick rundowns of just some of the 4 factors and just a stat breakdown real quick. Otto Porter, for example, he's shooting 51% from the field, from the 3-point line on 4.5 attempts a game. So that's huge for the team. And I mean, it doesn't seem surprising because it's kind of what he did last year. Not 51%. That would be amazing if he keeps that up.
Didn't he lead the league last year in 3-point percentage?
I don't know if he ended up leading the league, but he definitely led it for a lot of the season. But he shot around 43% from the 3 last year, if I remember correctly. In any case, above 50% right now. In the limited time that Markieff has been getting on 2.5 attempts a game, he's shooting 50%. That's probably unsustainable. But John Wall, like I mentioned, he's averaging 20 and 10 right now, leading the league in assists. Bradley Beal leading the team in scoring at 24.5 points a game. He's really stepping up, shooting 50% from the field and 37.5% from 3. But he's known to take kind of tougher off the dribble threes, and he's taking 5 attempts a game. So I mean, that's a good number. And the bench, like I said, the bench could be performing better. The team's at 7-5 right now as a record. They're number 1 in the league in getting to the line, though, in terms of free throws per field goal is attempted, so free throw rate. So that's good. It's a lot of John Wall and Bradley Beal getting to the line, as well as kind of other players picking them up too. And in any case, we can get to their 5th in offensive rating, 19th in defensive rating, and 5th in pace. So just a quick breakdown there.
Hey, Russell Westbrook's leading the league in assists.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. But anyways, John Wall's actually 3rd. He's dipped down to 9.7.
Okay.
James Harden 9.8.
He was leading the league like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's close. I mean,
stay tuned.
Especially in the early season, one game could make a big difference right now. So
definitely. Okay. We'll be right back after this short break, and you guys are listening to the Benchmark Podcast on the Almighty Baller Network.
Hey folks, Dave DeFore of On the NBA with Dave DeFore here. I'd like to talk to you about my friends over at Harry's, my go-to razor for a smooth, close, and comfortable shave. Almighty Baller Radio is the go-to network for NBA podcasts, but if you visit harrys.com/ballers, you'll get a free trial set from Harry's and find out why over 3 million guys have switched to Harry's. Harry's is all about a great shave at a fair price. With top quality blades made in a German factory with over 100 years of blade making experience, you get a close, clean shave every time, 100% guaranteed, and at half the price of the leading 5-blade razor. So go to harrys.com/ballers, BALLERS today. You'll get the free trial kit that has become my personal go-to every morning. A weighted, ergonomic razor handle, 5 precision-engineered blades with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, a rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. A $13 value, this is all yours for free when you sign up, just by covering the cost of shipping. You're supporting the network here at Almighty Baller, but you're also making a great decision for yourself. The decision to find out how Harry's has fixed shaving for the ordinary guy. Check out that URL, harrys.com/ballers. One more time, that's harrys.com/ballers to receive a free trial shave set for just the cost of shipping.
Welcome back, guys. It is now time for the trade deadline, the live negotiations portion. Before we get into it, though, let's summarize who has what teams. I'm the GM of the Wizards. Garrett, who do you have?
I have the Northwest and Southwest divisions, so that would be the Timberwolves, Nuggets, Blazers, Jazz, Thunder, Rockets, Grizzlies, Spurs, Pelicans, and Mavericks.
And Tim, who do you have? I think there was some misunderstanding earlier.
Yeah, there was a slight, we'll call it a typo. Whenever we were assigning the divisions, you said the Southeast and Northeast, but turns out Northeast is not a division. So I inferred that I'm the Central because the Central was not,
there you go.
not claimed by anybody. So that gives me Cleveland, Indiana, Detroit, Milwaukee, Chicago, and then Miami, Atlanta, Orlando, and Charlotte.
And Will, who's remaining?
So I'm representing the liberal coastal elites. I have the Atlantic and the Pacific divisions.
Want to summarize the teams?
Yeah. So I've got Boston, New York, Brooklyn, Toronto, Philadelphia. I also have Golden State, Sacramento, both Los Angeles teams, and the Phoenix Suns.
Awesome. So I have quite a bit of trades kind of to go, so I'm thinking 35 minutes this time. Any opposition?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right, so the clock is going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Brooklyn Nets, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How's it going?
It's going well.
All right. Well, I have a deal here for you where we kind of swap some bad contracts, and you also get a second rounder out of it. So how do you feel about a Ian Mahinmi for DeMarre Carroll flop? And then I'll give you my 2018 second rounder.
I think DeMarre plays a more important position than Ian Mahinmi does. At this point, I think that DeMarre has more versatility in today's NBA. And is there any way we can make this 2 seconds?
2 seconds. I'd rather not, honestly, because we are already short on seconds. We have our 2019 going out and our 2021 going out. And our 2020 is top 55 protected. And, I mean, depending on how we do and how we improve, that isn't a guarantee that we're going to keep it. So that's at least 2 seconds out and a possible third out as well. So giving up 2 more, giving this 2018 second is also kind of not something that we love to do. But again, you guys are taking on a bit more salary, about $1.8 million this year. And then since Ian Mahinmi's contract is decreasing, they make only he makes only $500,000 more than DeMarre next year, for example. But he does have that third year, so the second round compensation is definitely something we feel that you guys would need in this trade. But is there? I mean, 1 second, is that a no go?
Maybe if you could throw in some cash, we could make this deal work. We could use that cash at a later time to try to buy a second round pick.
Okay, that's interesting.
So yeah, I think we could do this deal, DeMarre for Ian Mahinmi, a second round pick, and cash considerations.
Do you have a number in mind for cash considerations?
Briefly, I think the max you can do is $5.6 million, if I'm not mistaken. Or 5.1 is the max, and the Wizards haven't sent any cash out yet this season.
Okay, so 5.1 is a bit steep.
I'm just saying that's the max you can send out.
No, yeah. I'm just saying for us, it's a bit steep.
If we could get, I think, $3 million, we could be comfortable taking on that third year.
Okay, how about we say $2 million?
2.5.
Let's do it. $2.5 million. Okay,
All
so.
right. All right, I'm happy
So
with
Jan Mahinmi, Damari Carroll, and the second rounder, 2018 second rounder, plus $2.5 million in cash considerations for Damari Carroll. I am willing to lock this in. However, I do want to, since Jan Mahinmi might show interest in other players, is it okay for me to kind of write this one down and look for other deals first?
Absolutely, but we're going to keep shopping Damari.
Perfect. Okay, so I would like to call Portland, actually.
What's up? Neil O'Shea here.
How's it going? So we have, if you heard the rumors, we have Damari Carroll kind of for Jan Mahinmi going right now. We were interested in a straight up Evan Turner for Jan Mahinmi swap and just kind of gauging your interest there.
We aren't that interested in that. We paid out that Turner contract, and we, by trading Allen Crabbe to Brooklyn this past offseason, we really need as many guards as we can get. So at this time, we kind of really need Evan Turner right now. We're paying Myers Leonard an equally bad contract as well, so we don't really see that right now. But we have another deal in mind later if you would be interested, but you can keep talking about Jan Mahinmi if you want.
Oh, it doesn't need to be later. We're already on the phone.
Oh, okay. This one was relatively simple. We were thinking Mo Harkless for Markieff Morris and Sheldon Mack.
Mo Harkless for Markieff Morris and Sheldon Mack. So Sheldon Mack is out for the season. I'm sure you're aware.
We are aware. We are willing to take that little bit off your plate, just because if you waive him at some point before January 10th, you have to pay some of his guaranteed portion for the season, and you have an extra roster spot at the moment. So
yes,
yeah.
The guarantee is only 50. I mean, he's $50K guaranteed right now.
But you're in the tax right now, so I think every dollar counts.
It does help. Every dollar does count. Mo Harkless for Markieff Morris.
And we need to include Mack because you can't do straight up Morris for Harkless.
No, I see. The thing is, I mean, we like Mo Harkless, and we think he's a great fit for our squad. However, Markieff has been big for us. Our starting group has really kind of gelled well together.
Well, yeah, mull it over and come back to us.
I don't think we're going to come back to it. I just want to say, because a straight-up swap like that would have to benefit us, like, kind of unquestionably, and that swap doesn't... I'm not sure Markieff is not a better player than Mo Harkless already, especially at the spot he's at, so at the position he's at. So we're going to kind of decline that, but appreciate your interest.
Well, have fun with Damari Carroll over there, because we ain't giving you Turner.
That's fine. Well, I prefer Damari Carroll anyway. I was just gauging your interest. In any case, I actually want to make one more call for a potential Jan Mahinmi deal, and that is to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes, sir. Los Angeles here.
Hello. Yeah, so I am going to suggest to you a Jan Mahinmi. It revolves around Jan Mahinmi and Luol Deng.
I actually had this too.
Okay, perfect. So Jan Mahinmi, Luol Deng, instead of a straight up swap, since what do you feel about a straight up swap? Actually, I want to gauge your interest there. I have some other pieces, but wanted to hear what you have, what you think of that.
I mean, for us, I think Jan is a more impactful player on the court at this point in his career than Luol is. He's also getting paid less than Luol is. And they have the same term on their contract. So, as the Lakers, I'd do a straight-up swap, yeah. Kind of stepping away from the negotiation for a second and just analytically talking about a swap, yeah, I would do a swap.
Okay. Then, how do you feel about swapping Chris McCullough and Thomas Bryant as well?
I don't know about that one. That one I'm less sure on. I kind of like Bryant, especially at the really low rate that we have him at this season. I like McCullough, though. I think I'd do it if that's what it took to get the first part of the deal done.
I like that. I like that deal in terms of... Okay, so Jan Mahinmi, Chris McCullough for Thomas Bryant and Luol Deng. I am okay with that deal. If you are.
Yeah, I can do that deal.
All right. I actually, as the Wizards, I think I prefer that deal over the DeMarre Carroll deal. But let me rethink.
While
Yes.
While we have you on the phone here, the Lakers had another potential deal that we wanted to gauge your interest on. How would you feel about Julius Randle and Zubac for Markieff Morris?
Wow.
At least that was the base.
That is interesting.
When I was playing with it, I also attached the 2020 Washington second rounder, but
So Julius Randle and Zubac for Markieff Morris.
Yeah. The rumors are increasingly that Randle is unhappy with his role on this Lakers team, his contract status.
We are aware, and the contract status is actually what is concerning. He would be restricted, so we could just wait out his market value. Markieff makes $8.5 million next year, and then Zubac, especially if we get off Jan Mahinmi, we can slide Zubac into the backup center role, and we'll still have Jason Smith. So, that is intriguing. That is very intriguing. I don't like messing up our starters' potential, and Markieff can extend the range more than Randle can. However, Randle fits the timeline of our young core a bit better with Otto and Bradley and Wall.
And Zubac is a good young player too.
Zubac is a good player. Yes.
Not getting the minutes that he was a couple seasons ago, but he's still young and has that potential to grow.
Okay, and then the Jan Mahinmi. So if we do that, Zubac and Randle, I would. Okay, I'm just thinking about a lot of things different right here. Between the value of so I would like to do the DeMarre Carroll deal for Jan Mahinmi in a second.
Okay.
I think I like that over Luol Deng's $18 million contract in 2019-2020. And I can get off DeMarre Carroll. And DeMarre Carroll might be more effective at this point. So, and then combine that with the Randle trade. Markieff for Randle and Zubac. I'd be off Jan. I'd have Carroll. Okay. Yeah, I like both of those deals. So let me put down the math here. And then I would like to, first of all, Nets, lock that trade in. Is there any other deals for Jan Mahinmi out there?
I have a Jan Mahinmi deal.
Dallas also has a deal, but
okay, so
Tim was in
so let's
first.
hear those.
Yeah, I'll go first. Chicago Bulls on the phone.
Hi, actually, you were one of my Jan Mahinmi destinations, but it wasn't as good as the trades I have right now. Anyway, I'm interested.
So, we have a little situation that you might be aware of. We need to move Mirotic. So we were thinking Mirotic and Mahinmi. And I'll be honest, originally I was going to ask for a first in this deal, but at this point I'm going to ask for 2 seconds.
I don't know if the money works out there.
I feel like Mirotic is on. He makes 12.5 this year, and a team option for 12.5 next year. And the Bulls are below the cap by a fair amount. So
that does work actually.
Yeah.
Mirotic for Jan Mahinmi in 2 seconds is what you're offering?
Yes.
Okay.
Proposed.
I actually prefer losing only 1 second and picking up DeMarre Carroll, a wing player, instead of Mirotic. So, if you're willing to...
One would argue that Mirotic is a more valuable player than DeMarre Carroll.
That's debatable. It's definitely debatable. Carroll has been playing better than he has been.
And Carroll has injury concerns as well, and...
so does Mirotic. We don't have a Bobby Portis to knock him out. But yeah, I guess his injuries have been organizationally caused to him, and
self-inflicted wounds.
Self-inflicted wounds. Okay.
Dallas also on the phone.
Yes, Dallas.
We were thinking
I'll mull over the Mirotic deal, Bulls. I didn't mean to.
That's fine.
Without.
Yeah.
Okay. Dallas, how are you?
We're good. We were thinking about a Jan Mahimi, Wesley Matthews swap that involves a pick or two.
A pick or two? What does that mean? That's very vague.
I mean, like seconds. So it's basically you're just having your pick between Carroll, Matthews, or Mirotic. Is basically they're all about the same deal.
Yeah, Carroll, Matthews, or Mirotic, about the same deal. So I mean, does Matthews get done with a 1 second going your way? Like what are the picks you want? Because that does matter.
We were originally thinking a first round pick, but well, in our mind, he has a player option for $18 million that he's sure to pick up next year, and we're rebuilding right now. We're really struggling out of the gate, and we're trying to, make moves towards the future as much as we can. So if we can do 2 seconds, let me look really briefly. Your pick this year and your 2022 second, we could do that.
Okay. So Wes Matthews, wow. Okay, this is a decision. A lot of decisions are needing to be made.
Plus,
here.
we got world champion for the Dallas Mavericks in 2011, Jan Mahimi back.
That's true. He played a crucial role in the championship run for you guys.
Hey, he was there.
He was there. He has a ring. He
does.
Definitely has a ring.
And then Phoenix also had a brief offer of Monroe for Mahimi, but we don't think you'd be interested in that as much.
Monroe for Mahimi. No, that doesn't do it.
Yeah,
for us.
was just thrown out there. So yeah. So GM aside, you just got to pick between one of the three.
Yeah. So DeMarre Carroll, I'd be losing a second in cash. For Wes, I'd be losing 2 seconds. And for Mirotic, I'd be losing 1 second. Was that the deal?
We were asking for 2. We can continue negotiations if that's a game changer.
And then the Lakers deal was Randall and Zubac for Markieff, so that's kind of separate.
Could we talk you into including the 2020 second in that Markieff deal?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we might have to pull out of that deal then.
You're gonna pull out of the Markieff for Randall and Zubac deal?
I think we need a pick to make that work because I think that you're getting the better part of that deal. But if you're insistent, and I mean maybe come back to us at the deadline, but I don't know that I love it if the pick's not included.
Yeah. Can you keep that in mind for me so I can come back to it?
Yeah, that's one I have written down.
All right, thank you. And then Luol Deng and Thomas Bryant. I don't want Luol Deng's $18 million on the third year, so I'll scratch that. Wes Matthews, man, that's a big upgrade just on the bench and on our depth and all that. DeMarre Carroll is not too big of an upgrade, but and then Wes Matthews has $18 million next year. Carroll has $15.5 million next year. 6'8".
And same thing. GM aside, you're going to be in the tax next year, so it's just how much you want to be in the tax. It's really
and I'm trying to be mindful of that. Obviously, I'm not actually in the organization, and I don't speak.
It's not your money.
It's not my money, so that's why the cash considerations were kind of funny to talk about too. Okay, I think giving up 2 seconds is rough. I think Wesley Matthews is great, but how has he been playing? Let me pull up Wes Matthews' stats.
Well, I've been scouting in Europe, so it's been hard for me to be on the lookout for what Wes has been doing this season, honestly.
Okay, well, Wesley Matthews right now. To give a quick Wes Matthews update to everyone, he 31 years old. He's shooting 41.5% from 3 this year, 38 from the field overall, so he's not finishing well around the rim or from 2-point range. 12 points a game. Decent. And then I'd like to hear one more. Is there any other, before I kind of make a decision, any other kind of Jan Mahimi deals here before I move on to making my final call here?
I have some deals that are not Jan Mahimi deals, but they're deals that would seriously impact the front court rotation.
Yeah, actually, I would like to hear that because I need to make sure that my future moves kind of build the team out the right way. So, yeah, what were you thinking?
So, from the Los Angeles Clippers, this would kind of be restrained based on if you could make other deals work, if you wanted to move Gortat, but we would be willing to do a DeAndre Jordan for Otto Porter swap.
Wow. Okay. I like what Otto brings to the table, and I don't want to mess up that unless it's something very clearly to in our favor. And I don't know if that one is because even though Gortat may not bring what DeAndre brings in terms of athleticism, he is one of the better pick and roll players in the league, and he sets great screens. And him and John Wall have really formed a nice chemistry together. So. And then getting rid of Porter, who's just on fire right now. That's not something that we're interested in right now.
Okay.
Anything else though?
Utah has a call to make.
Yes. How are you?
We're struggling a little bit out of the gate. We're struggling with our offense, and as you might know, Derek Favors is a free agent at the end of this year, and we were thinking if we could do Markieff Morris and Kelly Oubre for Derek Favors.
Markieff Morris and Kelly Oubre, you said?
For Derek Favors.
We're looking to add depth, not take away depth. And although I do like the prospect of Favors on our squad, getting rid of 2 of our top 6 rotation guys for one guy that might not bring that much more isn't quite appealing to us.
I don't know. Favors and John Wall in the pick and roll could be pretty good.
No, we like Favors. But we also like Oubre. Is there any way you can add something else to that deal? Because losing a depth piece is not something I want to do.
I mean, not really, because you're the team that doesn't have cap space after this year, so you can't sign Favors or maybe some of these other guys who are impending free agents unless you have their bird rights. So we're pretty confident with that deal.
Okay, and I'm pretty confident that I don't want to do it.
Hey,
so
that's fine.
Sacramento's on the phone.
Yes, Sacramento. How are you?
Doing well. We would like Marcin Gortat in a lottery-protected first-round pick for 2018, and for that we'll be willing to give you Willie Cauley-Stein.
Okay.
So this would get you under the tax this year. It would give you a long-term replacement at center, and it would give us a first-round pick to continue to build around our young core.
It would also give you Marcin Gortat.
Yeah, to kind of play the mentor role.
Who is a valuable piece for us. I like where you're going with that, and Willie Cauley-Stein is a very intriguing piece for us to add. However, again, it's tough, especially because I'm giving the first rounder in that deal, and first rounders are, Cauley-Stein would be the kind of rookie scale guy that we pick up, but we also believe that we can identify and pick talent for ourselves in the first round, wherever that pick may land. And we feel that getting someone kind of at or at the potential that Cauley-Stein shows is something we're confident in doing. And getting rid of Gortat and a first is just tough for one piece there in Cauley-Stein, who hasn't shown too much. I mean, he's definitely playing a lot better this year with kind of the freedom given by DeMarcus Cousins leaving. It's just we're trying to contend this year, and I don't know if that's a move that we're willing to make, especially giving up the first rounder as well. So I'm intrigued, and I'm trying to see if I would want anyone else, and if you guys are willing to include anyone else. If you're not, just let's stop the call now. But if you are, then maybe we can continue.
I think it depends on who that other person is. If that other person's name is De'Aaron, we're definitely not interested, or anything like that. For someone else, let me pull up our roster.
I don't know if I'm down to do this, but a Malachi Richardson, for example.
Yeah, I think we could be willing to include Malachi in that deal.
Wow, okay. So that would be Marcin first. I just don't know in terms of an asset who's the better asset between Cauley-Stein and Marcin Gortat right now, especially if you're talking about contending. And then the first round pick, I mean, lottery protected, that's almost surely we're going to give that to you. And if we don't give it to you, then we have bigger problems to think about anyway. So I don't think I can do that.
All right.
Gortat. Yeah,
all right.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
I'm still considering because I'm not sure, but we also have 11 minutes left here, and I need to make decisions before just being super undecided to the deadline. But any other calls?
Yeah, let's. I got kind of a blockbuster for you, the Cleveland Cavaliers. We would like to propose a trade where it's Kevin Love and the Brooklyn first-round pick for Otto Porter.
Tim just keeps trying to trade that Brooklyn pick.
Wow. Oh man, all these trades are so tough. Otto Porter for Kevin Love.
That would slot in
And
Kelly
the
Oubre
Brooklyn.
as your starter. You might want to look to flip
And
Morris.
we could still get Damari Carroll. We'd have the Brooklyn pick. And Kevin Love. Wow. This is interesting. Are you sure you want to do this?
Not 100% sure, but part of me thinks that Otto Porter playing like him and Jay Crowder as your forwards with LeBron. I mean, that's a lot of switching, a lot of length. Then we can play Tristan Thompson, who hopefully can get his mojo back a little bit, and he fits in well in that 5 role. Cleveland needs to try something. I don't know. It's a lot to give up, but I made the offer, so I'm not going to take it away now.
Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. If you talk yourself out of it, it would make my decision a lot easier. In any case, I'm looking at how Kelly Oubre has been performing, and I mean, he's been playing 30 minutes a game for us. He's been hitting his 3-pointer, and I mean, he could really flourish in a starting role, and we would have Kevin Love in that 4 spot along with Gortat. That's a great match. Porter is a huge loss, but that Brooklyn pick is tough to say no to. You know what? I feel like... And then what's Kevin Love's deal? 22, 20, okay, and then 1 year less than Otto Porter. You know, I think I have to do it. If you are okay with that deal, Otto Porter for Kevin Love and the Brooklyn pick, I think I have to do that when it comes down to it.
Could we? Okay, hang on. Could we get your first back so that way we would maintain a first round pick?
The whole reason I mean I struggled with the other arrangement. I can't be tossing a first rounder.
I mean, well, but you're not going to have roster space for him.
What do you mean?
For 2 first rounders, you're going to have roster space for that? And it's going to be a late first. I mean, that's not going to contribute.
I will. I always have roster spots for rookie scale deals.
All right, if you want to do it, yeah, I'm in. But
you're in?
You sure you don't want to give me that first?
I'm 100% sure. I have other deals to get to, so I need you to be sure here because
we can lock it in. I really would be intrigued to see that front court: LeBron, Jay Crowder. I mean, Isaiah when he comes back, Otto Porter. That's a lot of shooting, a lot of defense, except for Isaiah, I guess. But yeah, I'm in. I'm just intrigued by that, and I want to do it.
You getting rid of that Brooklyn pick,
man. Yeah, that's tough. We can analyze it later. We can lock it in now.
Lock it in. All right, perfect. All right.
We don't have to waste our time. You can make other calls now. You guys can tell me how stupid I am later.
Okay, so now I have Kevin Love, and then the money works out almost equal. We just saved $2 million on that deal, approximately. In any case, we also have the Brooklyn pick, so that's amazing. And then, okay, so Damari Carroll, Mirotic, Wesley Matthews were the other picks or players that we were looking at. And then Markieff Morris for Julius Randle. Ooh, okay. I'm still kind of deciding on all these deals. Damari Carroll is looking like the best, but oh, hold up. I think I'm getting a call I just talked to Otto Porter, and he says he has the 15% trade kicker. He has a no trade clause, and he's not willing to waive the trade kicker in this deal. And also, he's hesitant on waiving the no trade clause, but playing with LeBron is something that he is definitely looking forward to. So Cavs, his salary goes up to right around $28 million, and Love is making $22.6 million. So, are you willing to include anything in that?
You know,
I mean, we're willing to take on Channing Frye's expiring.
Really, we can't give up too many more pieces. I mean, Frye doesn't play a ton, but we still kind of need that depth. And would Jose Calderon's minimum contract be enough to make a valid trade here? He's making $1.4 million. How much do we need to come up to? Do we have a number?
I don't believe so. you can take back 125% of the outgoing salary, so you can add about $5 million to the Kevin Love's deal.
So
it gets really close.
So I'd have to add like 3 minimum guys because
you would have to add like 2 minimum guys or like a $2.5 million contract.
Yeah. See, I don't think we could really do that because we don't have the ability. We need our minimum guys. I mean, Derrick Rose, Jeff Green, Dwayne Wade. We really kind of need to keep them for depth, and Calderon we could throw in there, but I don't think we want to get rid of Zizic.
We have 4 minutes left.
Well, then let's just call this dead in the water since he won't waive his trade kicker, and we can talk about what this trade would look like.
What about Kyle Korver? Do you need Kyle Korver?
Probably.
Probably?
Let me think on it. You make some other moves. Let me think if we can throw anything else in, and we'll get back to you in a couple minutes.
Okay, Jan Mahinmi second in cash considerations. Are you still on the table?
Yes.
I think we're willing to do that deal either way.
For DeMarre Carroll, right? That's the deal we're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, for DeMarre Carroll. Okay, so I'll lock that one in. That's about $1.8 million off our books.
Yeah, we can do
and
that.
You're
Lock that one in.
Yeah, okay, for sure. Okay. So I'm kind of ixnay on the Wes Matthews deal. I guess 2 seconds was a bit too steep of a price to give up, and I'm kind of. I don't know. DeMarre Carroll has been performing well. I was comparing their stats, and DeMarre Carroll might.
So which second did you just trade?
The 2018, right?
2018 second.
So Phoenix here.
Yes.
And because we just traded away Eric Bledsoe, we would propose a Troy Daniels for Thomas Satoransky and a future second.
Troy Daniels for Thomas Satoransky and a future second?
I would guess 2022.
Not that interested. Nuggets, are you there?
Yes.
Are you interested in either Jody Meeks in a second or Thomas Satoransky in a second for Malik Beasley?
No, thanks.
Not in any way. Okay. Had to call about that.
OKC here.
Yes. 2.5 minutes left. So.
Would you be interested in a Kyle Singler for Jason Smith swap?
Kyle Singler for Jason Smith. No, Jason Smith actually provides some value to us stretching at the 5 position, and Kyle Singler, we don't want that contract. We'd rather have Smith's contract than Singler's contract.
Okay. Cleveland, back on the phone if you can take
yes,
my call.
Cleveland.
What if we expand this deal and we could throw in Channing Frye and Amon Shumpert for Markieff Morris and Jody Meeks?
No, we can't include Markieff Morris.
But you're getting Kevin Love, so
I am getting Kevin Love, but Shumpert. So if you break down what we agreed on and what's added, it's Shumpert and Channing Frye for Markieff Morris.
No, Channing Frye, or we could do Kyle Korver.
Either way.
Jody Meeks and Markieff would be what we would ask back, and then
both those assets are better than the counterparts in that deal in our mind.
Yeah, but so you get the Brooklyn pick. I mean, you're winning the first part of it.
Yeah, I was.
Look at it holistically, not just those two, is what I'm saying.
What if we didn't include Markieff and gave you Jody Meeks and you gave us Channing Frye?
See, but that leaves us pretty thin on centers, big guys.
We have 45 seconds left. Julius Randle, are you still available?
We are still available. We would love to do Julius Randle, Zubac, Markieff for a 2020 second round pick. We
just gave our other second, so we're still kind of hard pressed on not getting that second back or giving that second away. So we'd like to keep Markieff.
Could we get the rest of your cash considerations then? The 2.6 you have left.
Oh man, with the tax. Yeah. Markieff for Randle and Zubac. Let's do it.
All right, cool. I'm happy with it.
Okay, lock that one in, and then. Yeah. Wow. That was an eventful trade deadline, and I did not know what to do. My mind was flipping, and this was the first time where I actually felt like there was just too many things going on, and I like that because I know that's how actual teams feel, except probably times 100, because they're actually playing with people's lives and livelihoods, and so that was crazy. If I can feel this kind of everywhere just on this podcast call, I cannot imagine how people feel in an actual front office. Anyway, let's get down to breaking these trades down. The Cavs blockbuster ended up not happening, which I am, as the Wizards, I am just might be regretting that for a while if that was an actual deal that didn't happen. But I want to hear Will and Garrett your take. So Will, let's hear your take on this. So let me kind of summarize it. It was Kevin Love and the Brooklyn pick for Otto Porter was the initial deal. So I want to hear your takes on that. And then what was it after that? Markieff Morris and Jody Meeks for Channing Frye and Iman Shumpert on top of that.
Yeah,
okay,
make the salaries work.
So Will, I want your take on the first part, and then Garrett, I want your take on the second part.
So on the first part, for practical purposes this season, you have Kevin Love for Otto Porter. And I think this is a really interesting case of, again, what you value in the NBA. Because if it's rebounding, you go with Kevin Love. If it's athleticism, if it's wing defense, you have to go with Otto Porter. They're both great three-point shooters for their position. Otto Porter's obviously the better three-point shooter. But that Brooklyn pick changes everything. And I think that if you're Washington, you have to do whatever it takes to get this deal done, because Kevin Love is still a very good player, and then you have one of the best pieces in the NBA available, for negotiation later this season and into the offseason, and that's Brooklyn's pick.
Yeah, I was just, I was very indecisive, and I was down for the first part, and I mean, this can actually have Otto Porter might not want to give away that trade bonus. I mean, I'm sure he's happy with Washington. I'm sure he also wants to play with LeBron. So that's just something that we kind of came up with here in the middle of the trade negotiations, that the trade kind of might not happen this way. So,
Otto Porter has a pretty large amount of leverage in this deal, actually.
Oh, yeah, a great amount of leverage. And he might want to, I don't know, he also might not want to stay with the team that's willing to trade him. But it's also the Brooklyn pick, so, if he's logical and objective, maybe he can kind of understand, although there's emotions when it comes into actual play, when it comes into actual, lives and, moving and stuff. But, Garrett, let's move it over to you, kind of, maybe your overall thoughts, and then, would you still do it if you're getting rid of Jody Meeks and Markieff Morris and getting back Shumpert and Channing Frye?
Just to briefly talk about the Otto Porter part of this really quickly, it's the game you play. So normally, if it's a restricted free agent and you really want him, you're willing to lock him up 5 years, fully guaranteed, all that. Yeah. But if you let that guy go to restricted free agency, you limit yourself where he'll sign for a 3+1, but then he could have, depending on what the other team gives him, he could have a trade bonus, or a trade kicker. He could have a no trade clause. So that's the game you play of do we have him for 5 years or 3 years +1? And then do we let him have those extra incentives? The Knicks with Tim Hardaway, where it's not anything to do with the cap sheet, but it's the idea of he gets half his salary in the first 2 months of the season. And so it's when you let a guy go to a restricted free agency and gets an offer sheet, sometimes it could be detrimental to the team. But you're gonna have to repeat. It's Morris and Meeks for Shumpert and Frye.
Yeah. So the whole deal would be Porter, Morris, and Meeks for Kevin Love, the Brooklyn pick, Shumpert, and Channing Frye.
I think that favors Washington, but it's almost tough to wrap my head around because I really don't know how realistic that is from two of the top 3 teams in the East, or where you want to call them.
Maybe let's break it down this way with your opinion. Remove the Brooklyn pick and just who does it favor? Who do you think it favors on the immediate season?
Probably Cleveland, because I think what Porter does just for Washington as opposed to maybe other teams around the league is very, very important. And It's tough. I mean,
well, and also Meeks and Markieff Morris playing with LeBron is a whole nother story than them playing in their current. Like LeBron makes those kind of more role player type guys a lot better, and I mean he has been for years now. So I would only assume that the Cavs that LeBron can kind of make them a bit better than they have been playing. Although Markieff has been playing really well for the Wizards. The Brooklyn pick really throws everything off, and maybe I should have done it. It's just something that like it was getting down to the wire. There were a lot of other deals that I was thinking of that I probably should have made a decision on earlier, so I could have actually focused on this one. But I was just kind of thrown off by the agreement to the original deal, and then the second part of it being added on was so far in favor of Cleveland that maybe. Because I mean, Meeks and Morris for Channing Frye and Shumpert, I don't know, like that's really.
Shumpert gives you better wing defense, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know what your opinion of Shumpert is, but I think he's a quality role player.
Well, the fact that we're all kind of this indecisive means that it was probably a trade that you can't really judge until like 3-4 years down the line.
Yeah, see it on the court.
Yeah, see it on the court. So
I mean,
in any case, and
I feel like absolutely this is a trade that you couldn't judge until 3 or 4 years down the line, because who knows what Otto Porter's going to be in 4 years? Who knows what the player that's taken with this Brooklyn pick is going to be in 4 years? You know, if whoever's taken with this Brooklyn pick is the next LeBron, nothing else matters. The trade was worth it. You know.
Yeah, my thought process with wanting to get Otto Porter on Cleveland was simply, like I said, Otto Porter, LeBron, and Jay Crowder out there. I was just thinking, what's their best five versus Golden State's best five for the finals matchup. And Tristan Thompson and then probably, I would assume Isaiah would be their best five. And that's a lot of shooting, a good amount of, like a lot of offense, and then a lot of switching on defense. I mean, obviously you'd have to cover up Isaiah defensively, but... And I mean, they could even go without. They could move somebody instead of Isaiah. I mean, they could play JR and just let LeBron run point in that situation as well. So I thought that it really made them quite a bit more competitive against Golden State.
Yeah, I saw where you're coming from. That I just don't. I personally, if I were the Cavs, for example, I don't know if I can give up that Brooklyn pick knowing LeBron might leave for kind of. It would take a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway.
And I thought maybe Cleveland winning a championship might convince LeBron to stay. But anyways, we can move on to the actual trades that we did execute.
Yeah, so I think the one that was a bit more major that I'm having doubts on, but also it could work out. Let's just Markieff Morris for Randall and Zubac plus about $2.5 million of cash considerations, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lakers, why do you do this? This brings on $8 more million on your books next year.
So this brings money onto our books, but if we are willing to abandon the kind of Los Angeles philosophy that we've had for the last decade or so, that we're just going to create cap room and wait for free agents to come, then I think this makes a lot of sense, because I think this makes the Lakers a better team. I think that a front court of Lopez and Markieff Morris is going to be a ton of fun to watch. I think that they're going to be able to space the floor well. You throw in Ingram, Lonzo, that's going to be a fun team to watch, and maybe that's going to be a team that's actually good enough to convince free agents to want to come play with them, or convince max trade guys to waive no trade clauses, to waive trade kickers, to say, yeah, I want to be a part of that team.
Yeah, and I actually have two thoughts on that. One, it's only $8.5 million for Markieff Morris,
Mm-hmm.
so like if you did want to move off of that later, like before free agency, that won't be difficult, I feel like. So there's still flexibility there. You don't have to deal with Randall's kind of attitude in terms of not knowing that he's not going to get re-signed and all that, and everything that comes with that. And as well as you still have room for one max slot. Like you might not be able to get two max guys coming. And it also depends on Luol Deng, what you do with Luol Deng. You might not want to stretch all that money because of the amount of money that's going to be on the books for the future. So there are a lot of things that go into it. And you obviously, as the Lakers, thought it was a good deal for you. And I don't know how I feel about it from the Lakers' perspective, but I can kind of say why I made the move happen for me. One, Julius Randle's restricted rights are very interesting. As the Wizards, I would probably just wait it out, see what he earns on the open market. And I mean, if he perform.
That's $12 million, by the way.
$12 million is his qualifying offer, right?
Well, that's his cap hold.
Cap hold, right? Yeah.
Like I mentioned on the other pod, that the first round picks, their cap holds have gone way up in the last 2 years, and he was a top 7 pick at least. So he has a pretty high cap hold.
Well, if you just think about it positionally, and let's say $12.5 million is what he ends up getting for a starting four, that Randall has shown flashes, and if he's kind of competing in the East, he might play better. That's something that we would be willing. I think that's a good deal. Obviously, he could make more than that, though. I don't know if Chicago or the Nets or whoever has cap room next year, what they would offer Randall. But we've seen the restricted market this year. People just kind of wait it out to see what they can get these guys for, and that only benefits me. So unless someone comes in the first week with a huge offer for Randall, which I don't know if a team wants to give an enormous contract to Randall. So that kind of, plus his age, plus Zubac coming in. Getting rid of Jan Mahinmi kind of opens up the backup center role. Jason Smith has shown that he can kind of stretch the floor, but Zubac shows some promise, and if he can fit into, he could probably provide a nice percentage of what Jan Mahinmi provides for a fraction of the cost. But yeah, and speaking of Jan Mahinmi, let's get to that trade too. Jan Mahinmi, a second rounder, 2018 second rounder, and cash considerations, $2.5 million of cash considerations for DeMarre Carroll. Tim, what do you think about that deal?
I like it it's a salary dump, obviously, but at the same time, you get a player back that could be a rotational piece with DeMarre Carroll. And as long as he stays healthy, we've seen stretches of basketball where he's a good 3-and-D player. I don't know if he still is at this point in his career because he's had a couple down years. But for what you gave up, a second in cash considerations to just reduce the luxury tax bill, I think that it was a good move for the Wizards. And then obviously for Brooklyn, it's just all about acquiring draft picks and hoping that they can start build for the future, because DeMarre Carroll's definitely not in their future plans. So it makes sense for both teams.
So here's a quick breakdown of his stats. He has improved his defense. I've watched a couple Nets games here, so he's looking a bit more spry after kind of a healthy offseason of just training. DeMarre Carroll, that is. He's also shooting 37% from three on 5 attempts a game, so that's not bad. 43% from the field, so he is struggling a bit from inside the arc. 13.5 points a game, 7 rebounds, kind of just getting to the line 4 times a game. Not bad, and definitely would provide a lot more in terms of wing depth for the Wizards than Jan Mahinmi and that contract. And he makes $2 million less for 1 year less, and I thought that Will, you asking for the second rounder was fair. In terms of the second round picks, the Wizards were just so short on them. I couldn't give 2 away, and I'm happy that you were okay with kind of the cash considerations portion. One, because I don't have to talk to the owner and the money isn't mine, so it's easier for me to agree to that. But 2, I feel like it might be something that could make the deal swing. What was your logic there, Will?
So my logic was that if you weren't willing to part with the second round pick, the next best thing that you could part with would be something that wouldn't take up any cap room for me, would not take up a roster spot, and might be able to get me a second round pick back. And the only thing
I could have also said you get the best. Sorry, I cut you off, but a second round swap, you get the best of whichever. That can maybe give something else, but the Wizards are probably going to be better than the Nets, so I guess that doesn't do much.
Who knows? But with the cash, maybe you can take that $2.5 million. You can buy your way into the second round and get a guy. There have been teams that have been really successful at buying second round picks when a guy that they like falls. And I think that's the position that you would have to kind of hope for. Hope that somebody that you really like falls later than you expected them to, and try to buy a pick in the mid to late second round.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's a deal that both teams could benefit from. And then I wanted to toss it over to you guys for some other deals that did or didn't have, or was talked about, maybe didn't happen that you had or something. Garrett, what do you have for us to talk about here? I
know it's on a way smaller scale compared to what was done in this trade deadline, deadline, but I don't know why you were against Satoransky for Daniels in a future second.
Well, I was giving up the second, right?
Yeah.
Because
Satoransky doesn't play right now.
Yeah.
They have Tim Frazier.
Yeah.
They both make equal money the next 2 years. Daniels can shoot, which could actually benefit the Wizards bench. And you're giving up a second, way in the... So I don't know why Washington wouldn't do that.
So here was my thought process. One, it was really hectic in what I was dealing with. So maybe my gut reaction was I don't want another decision to have to make, which isn't a good gut reaction. But also I was giving up seconds in other deals, and I just felt like having 0 seconds wasn't something that I wanted to do. But if I thought about it harder, like if that was a deal that maybe came up in the beginning of the trade deadline, it might have gotten done. My mind was just kind of frantic and all over the place, that maybe I didn't put enough thought into it. Because, I mean, when you talk about it that way, then it's like, yeah, Thomas Satoransky isn't a huge loss in any way for us, in my mind. He is injury insurance, so it's not a complete loss, and he can play here and there. But the second rounder really was like, I don't know if I want to do it. But Troy Daniels, he's on his rookie scale, right?
No, he's actually on his third contract. But like I said, it's equal to Satoransky.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too worried about not having that deal done. I mean, it's fringe for fringe, and I would be losing second rounder. And I mean, maybe Troy Daniels could have helped, but we don't know. Anyway.
And then the other one was, I'm surprised you didn't have more interest in Derek Favors, who I think is a pretty good NBA player.
I think he's a good NBA player too. I like the potential of Kelly Oubre, and Markieff plays a big role for us. So I think.
So wait, really quick. So the guys you brought in after all this were Zubac, Randall, and Carroll, correct?
Yeah.
And you traded Morris and Mahinmi. All right. So I was asking for Morris in that deal, but say if you only did the Mahinmi for Carroll deal, would you be more interested in that Favors deal?
No, I don't like giving up Kelly Oubre, and we would need to pay Favors next year, and he's unrestricted, so he might not even sign with us. And
the problem is, if you're the Wizards, is the only way you can sign someone to that caliber is if you trade for them before they're a free agent. If you
get
know
their
what I
bird
mean.
rights.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, but he could also leave. Like, if I get him, he could also leave. You know what I'm saying? And then
I got it.
We're already short on depth, and I didn't want to give up depth. Like, my trades were more getting an extra player back, because we have the roster spot. We need the depth, so it was kind of a no-brainer in terms of getting at least one more depth piece that could play. And in the end, we got Zubac, Carroll, and Randall, so we increased our depth one. We kind of got younger in terms of getting Randall, and we don't know when Markieff is kind of going to hit that age wall where he starts to decline, and I think Randall could definitely benefit from a change in scenery and playing for a top team in a conference and all that. So, you know, it was tough. And then, I mean, we're kind of running long here. But...
Oh wait, very last thing, and
okay,
it's kind of the elephant in the room. I'm surprised because I was the Pelicans GM. You did not even ask about DeMarcus Cousins.
I don't know.
That's the rumor out there. Like Zach Lowe said it a couple times. Not like a realistic trade option, but just talking about.
I would sell my soul to see John Wall and Boogie on a team together again.
I'm just surprised you didn't ask about it.
Yeah, I don't know. That actually makes sense. It's just asking for Boogie is tough. Maybe you should have called me. I don't know if you were the Pelicans, but whoever was the Pelicans.
I am. But it's one of those. I'm not desperate to trade him yet. So it was one of those. You got to come to me kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not desperate to get. I mean, I guess the locker room chemistry could have improved
so
with John Wall.
This would have been my deal briefly. It would have been just because the way Cousins is only making $18 million, so just the way to make the salaries work. I would have asked for Beal, for Cousins, and Ajinça.
Beal, like really? I mean, I don't know if I would do Porter for Cousins straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, first of all, you can't do that because. Same thing with the trade kicker.
Well, in any case, I'm just talking about just the player and their value. Yeah, the contracts we can kind of talk about.
Even without the trade kicker, you couldn't do that deal.
Yeah, I'm just saying value as in terms of a player and what they bring to the team and the locker room. Boogie's awesome. Maybe I would do Porter for Boogie now that I think about it. But I don't know, man. That's tough. Giving up a major piece for Boogie, it's tough.
That's the overall philosophical thing with the Wizards is. Just because the way they're capped out and they're going to be in tax the next couple of years, it's a question of whether you find this team is good enough or you take that chance on Cousins or Favors. I'm just picking those two guys, or anybody else, or like you were doing with the Kevin Love trade. It's just, are we willing to take that risk of guys who are free agents, but we have their bird rights to make us potentially that much better?
Yeah,
it's just how confident you are in your core right now, as opposed to getting someone who could maybe get you over the top if you feel like he's that kind of player.
Boogie's interesting. Boogie's definitely interesting in that way. But yeah. Any other deals you guys want to talk about? The Luol Deng one was kind of interesting. I didn't, but in the end, I thought about not wanting the 18 million, 19 million almost in the third year. So, but Tim, Will, any deals you wanted to kind of touch on? Let's keep it to one, I guess. Here.
No, I think we've covered basically everything. I think we should cover.
I was kind of hoping the Willie Cauley-Stein deal got done, but I understand why it didn't. We're running a little long here, so I guess we should probably wrap at some point, though.
Yeah, that was Gortat, and who was it? A first. Gortat and a first, lottery protected for Willie Cauley. That had me thinking. That really had me thinking, but couldn't pull it, man. I mean, I don't want to mess up the chemistry too much, and I already gave up Markieff, which is a big piece. But
no,
anyway.
I completely understand that. The one thing I didn't get to say at the time of that trade was I think Willie Cauley-Stein's switchability onto smaller players and guards and wings would really help Washington's defense, especially against teams like Boston and teams like Cleveland, who are going to be very aggressive in their offense.
You were also okay with giving Malachi Richardson, which was very intriguing to me too. Mm-hmm. Just the first, I didn't feel good about giving away the first.
No, I mean it makes sense. I'd definitely hold on to draft picks if you can.
All right, well, we are at the end of another great trade deadline Tuesday episode. The Wizards were a very fun team, a lot of blockbuster potential, a lot of salary dump potential, and all these sort of things that go into trades. For Garrett, for Tim, and for Will, I'm Khan Errol. This has been another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast on Almighty Baller Radio, and we'll talk to you again later. Oh, follow us on Twitter at the Bench Mob NBA. Check out our website, thebenchmobnba.com, and now I can finally sign off. Peace.